Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello, listeners. This is your host, Andy Curry, and I am really excited today because I have on the line with me Marquesa Pettway. Marquesa has been speaking professionally for 10 years. The content she speaks on is business reinvention, and I cannot wait to hear more about that. She speaks in the U.S. and internationally. She has a book called Reinvention Roadmap, and she is starting another one called Speakerpreneur. She is a columnist for Speaker Magazine. Marquesa, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Andy. I'm excited to be here, and I forgot that I didn't tell you that I'm a CSP. I guess because I've only had it for a year.
A CSP, awesome.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it. Yeah, but thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad to have you here, Marquesa. Now, I always like to start off when I have an interview with speakers to have you tell me about your speaking business. Who is it that you're talking to? How do you help them, and what goes on when you're doing it?
Yes. Well, my who that I serve would be entrepreneurs that are smart because they use speaking as a marketing strategy. And they do this by using it to attract, to convert, and to serve their ideal client. So that's who I serve.
Okay.
And normally entrepreneurs will come to me, usually service-based entrepreneurs. So this would include, authors, speakers, consultants, trainers, and the like. And these individuals love to share or sell or put into products their knowledge. And so they're coming to me to figure out, how do I do that in the biggest way? How do I take this knowledge and serve a lot of folks, but still respect my lifestyle? So that's what I get really excited about. And I've been doing this for 10 years, live in New York City. I got clients all over the country and sometimes outside the country that I'll work with. So here's a typical thing. For example, this wonderful guy, Matt Mansfield, one of my diamond clients, he is a excellent writer. This guy's had more books and more written. He's a published author. Heck, he's even a columnist for a major tech magazine. But he wants to speak more. He wants to, get in front of more audiences and get more bang for his buck. Think about it, Andy. You can either do one-on-one or you can do a bunch of people at one time. And you've seen speakers get in front of an audience. The audience falls in love with them. And then the audience wants to go home with the speaker. They're thinking, I want to take you home. How can I do that?
Right.
And what I see happen, which to me is not always the smartest thing you can do, I will see that, I have a $10 book or a $20 book, and that's it. And frankly, if I were to be very honest with you, most people never read the book. They put it on their bookshelf and they go, that was fun, and they forget about you in 2 days. And it's hard to build a solid business like that. So you've got to be smarter. You need to give a few calls to action, not just by my book, but maybe by my system, and there will be a few people that want to work with you more long term. So my job is just to help you get smarter and help you share your expertise, sell your expertise, and really leverage it in the biggest way.
Okay, that's fantastic. Now, the content you speak on is business reinvention, and before the interview started, we had chatted a little bit, and you're coming from mostly helping speakers really accelerate their business, make more money and such. So can you give a couple really priceless pieces of information to help people understand how you're helping them, the
Absolutely.
technique?
Well, first of all, you do not have to be a professional speaker. I was sharing with you earlier, Andy, that I'm featured in Toastmasters International Magazine for the month of August of 2015. And it's such a privilege to be there. I am a DTM. There are a lot of individuals that aren't necessarily professional speakers that can do this very thing. Okay? Mm-hmm. And what it is you got something in your head, you got a message, maybe an experience you've gone through, or something you know very well that people bam that door down and say, hey, Andy, James, Sarah, can you teach me how to do this? And I'm here to help you figure out how you can teach them, not in the typical school way, but in a way where you can sit down and package your expertise. So, for example, one way that is really popular is called a high-end program. My high-end program is called the Speaker Blueprint. So folks will work with me anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. And they will come and they will learn from me via, well, first of all, they'll learn who they're meant to speak to, which is a big problem. Oftentimes, whether you're a speaker, professional speaker, trainer, author, coach, the like, we know so much. We have so much in our brain. We want to help everybody. And then what happens is you help nobody. So you got to narrow down exactly who it is you help. And don't be afraid of some folks not following you because you don't mention them. So here's a great example. I remember one of my clients, she's a financial planner. Now, Andy, how many financial planners do you meet out there? Like 1 million, right? And so she said, I really want to help people plan their money better. I'm like, okay, who do you want to help? I want to help, well, everybody. Well, everybody's not attracted to you, so who do you want to help the most? I want to help people that cannot stand to balance their checkbook. They like to spend their money. I said, yes, now we're talking. Now tell me what's the number one problem that these folks have. They don't necessarily like to do math. They're not idiots, but they just, when it comes to profit and loss statements, is another language to them. I said, now we're narrowing it down. And so once she narrowed down exactly who she wanted to help, she was able to create audio programs, ebooks, podcasts, 3-day live events, teleseminars, webinars, and the list goes on, books, ebooks, little pamphlet books, conferences, and all of these different products to serve that audience. So again, who is it that you really want to help? What's that number one problem that keeps them up at night? And then what are the first 5 steps that you can teach them? And then what's the easiest way to teach them that'll take them from here's the problem, now here is your solution. So if you wrap that up in a little bow, that's why they call me the business reinvention expert.
Awesome. So when you're speaking to groups, then you're talking on the very subject of that normally? Or are you talking business reinvention on all kinds of types of businesses?
Well, I'm talking business reinvention on all types of businesses.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, my specialty is really folks that want to use speaking as a big part of it, because they understand that speaking is just a brilliant marketing strategy. It's just brilliant. And go ahead.
Okay. Well, let's say somebody's just starting out, and what would you tell them to find something in their area to get practiced and all that?
Well, first, I have to tell you Toastmasters, not just because I'm in the magazine, but because I am a Toastmaster. I'm a DTM, and folks that are Toastmasters knows what that means.
Let's tell the listeners what DTM is.
DTM is Distinguished Toastmaster, and it's almost like a PhD in speaking with Toastmasters International Association. It can take anywhere from 7 to 10 years to earn that designation. Some of us a little shorter. I did it in 5 years, but I was hungry, I was fast, and I was anxious. And believe it or not, Andy, I love to tell this. Soon as I got my DTM, timing just worked for me. That's when my professional speaking career kicked off. I went to audition. I heard about seminar companies that hire speakers. I went to audition for them. They said yes. While I was in town, I auditioned for their competitors. Their competitors said yes. So since there were 4 weeks in a month, I could choose one competitor and them because you're not breaking any contracts doing that. And so for 4 weeks of a month, I would travel around the country, and I did this for 4 years. And this is where I did my international speaking and my national speaking. And I would just try different topics. So here's a piece of advice for the newbies. Often newbies have no idea who they're talking to. They don't know what problem they want to solve. They're just trying to figure it out. So I think Toastmasters is a good place to go to figure out what are you most passionate about. Because I think you need to go into your wheelhouse. What are you passionate about? And what do you know a lot about? It bugs me when folks will say, you know what, I want to help executives. All right, so have you ever been an executive? Well, no. Well, then why would executives listen to you? Or, well, I don't know, I'm just passionate about that. So it needs to be something that you're passionate about, but that's also in your wheelhouse. It can be something you've studied, something you've become an expert in. Heck, one of my clients, he had such a nasty divorce, he became a divorce expert, you know. So there, one wonderful client I had, you know, she was unfortunately went through domestic abuse, and that was her topic that she wanted to talk about with others that are struggling in that area. So it could be a situational experience that makes you an expert in that area. But please pick a lane. That's my best advice. Pick a lane and then own that lane. Eat it, sleep it, drink it. And if you do that, it will be so much easier to monetize it.
Great advice. Great advice. Now, what were you doing before you were speaking?
Ooh, I love that. Before I was speaking, well, actually, I live in New York City, but I'm a Texan from Dallas, Texas.
You don't have the accent.
I know. Well, you know why? Because I was a broadcast journalism major.
Ah, so you had to get rid of it.
Yeah. So, you know, come on. You can't be a communications major and have an accent. And then I was a theater minor. And then I moved to New York to work in television news. So I worked for CNN for 4 years, an associate producer. I worked with Lou Dobbs. You guys may remember him in business news. Yeah, he's still there.
He is.
Did that, and then it was small business news of all things, right? And then I realized I hated the news.
Because it's too negative, I'll bet, right?
Oh, no, because I was in business news. I was just bored. I really wanted to get into entertainment news, and I was bored and wet behind the ears, thought I wanted to be an anchor. But lo and behold, my purpose was really to be a speaker. Who knew? So fast forward, I went to work for AT&T, business markets, became the #1 account executive in Manhattan for 5 years straight. So my clients were the Trump Organization, Tiffany's, Apple Bank, and the list goes on. And I did that for 8 years, but I was at the top for 5 of those 8 years. And then I got downsized at the, in the 8th year and said, okay, either I go back and turn in a resume to some company, or man, it's time for me to live my dream. I mean, I had a blast at AT&T, learned some fabulous skills, made stupid money, but now it's time for me to live my purpose. And my purpose was speaking. And I realized that speaking, with all my time with Toastmasters. Because while I was with Toastmasters, I got all these speaking opportunities. And I'm thinking, dude, how can I do this forever? And one of the best decisions I made was joining the National Speakers Association. That's where the CSP designation comes from. Because CSP means, you've had some time in the business, you've made some money doing some professional speaking, and you had to prove it with your financial record. So that's a huge designation that I earned 10 years after being in the business. So joining National Speakers Association, huge. And getting a coach, because just speaking is one thing. But you got to know how to run a business. I didn't go to business school. I went to normal college,
Right.
I didn't get an MBA, yeah. And so I never learned how to be an entrepreneur. So I went to a coach and I learned about that. I learned what it took to be an entrepreneur. And then I brought in my sales and marketing experience, that I got from AT&T, and brought in a lot of those television skills and contacts and all that. And voila, I've been in business now full time for 10 years. So that's how I got started. And I said this earlier, just to connect the dots. When I got downsized, and I told all my Toastmaster buddies, I said, I want to do this. I want to be a professional speaker. One of my first professional speaking jobs came out of me telling everybody, and then I spoke in the high schools and loved it. And if you can keep young people interested, you're definitely meant to do this.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
What was your first speech on to the young people? Do you recall?
Well, it was for this company. I think it was about what should you do? How should you figure out what your career is? It was career focused. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, it was kind of weird doing that, because the purpose of this, I think it was a college that would send us out. They wanted young people to sign up, for their college. And And this was like a 2-year college. So I sort of had a hard time with that because I'm thinking, no, dude, you got to get the bachelor's. I don't want to sit up here and tell these kids, to do this. So I did that for like 2 minutes. And then that's when I went to audition for the seminar companies and then started to travel all over the world. So I was in the school for maybe, I think, 3 months. And then I spent my first month or so in the classroom, and only for senior classes, of course. And then literally within a matter of weeks, I jumped ship from that company because I didn't like telling students, do 2-year versus 4-year. And then I jumped into speaking to school assemblies, and then that's, and then I said, this is fun. And then I, got some great advice from an NSA member. And as I've said a few times, that's when I started to do the seminar company thing. And then while I was on the road speaking for the seminar companies, you got to remember, you're going between a middleman. So the seminar company would charge a client, I don't know, $10,000 to bring me in, and they would only give me $2,000. They would take the rest. And that's fine because I'm new, I'm wet behind the ears, I need to learn. But then I decided I can't do this forever. I need to make real money. And believe you me, on average, you made about $200 to $300 a day. So that was a huge income drop for me. Mm-hmm. So I had to be hungry to do that and willing to struggle a little bit if necessary, which I did, and learn what it meant to be that entrepreneur and how to position myself and how to choose my audience and how to create info products in addition to my book and how to sell from the platform and all of those different skills. And now I love teaching others how to do it via my business, which is the National Center for Speaker Training.
There's speakers who aren't at that level and maybe have done it for quite a while. What do you think the difference is? What would you attribute that to? Being hungry?
It's a few things, I think. It's being hungry in the sense of being willing to weather the lows and the highs. Because some folks just want instant success. They figure they'll get it on it. You know how good it feels to get in front of an audience, and the audience loves you, and they want to take pictures with you, and they want to hear you again. And then your head gets so big, you start to feel yourself a little bit, and it's easy to think, well, heck, what if I just get a bunch of these? But you got to realize that in order to sustain and live and really pay your bills and build real solid income, you must have multiple income streams all coming from your area of expertise, which is what you talk about. Mm-hmm. So a lot of speakers will decide, well, I just want to speak. That's all I want to do. So they'll just get on a bunch of stages, not realizing that's not always easy. That's the easy part, getting on the stage and speaking. The hardest part is getting to that stage. So do you want to sit up here and wait for your phone to ring? What if it doesn't? What if you find yourself in a position when you can't get on a plane? What if? So you need to be able to cover yourself and say, I need to instead of working hard, I need to work smart. And to work smart, I need to understand what I'm doing, and I need to create multiple streams of income. So let's go back to that financial planner. She could just, try to call, and what financial planners would do. They just call you on the phone. Hey, have you planned for your retirement? Questions like that, and you say click because you didn't want to talk to them. I remember them back in the day, when I worked for AT&T. Instead, why not have a website where you have a really easy positioning statement for her? That statement was, do you struggle when it comes to figuring out your profit and loss? Are you clueless when it comes to managing your money? And you realize that you got to do something now, or you could be in terrible trouble. Something like that, something that's really a knee jerker. And once she got that positioning statement up, she decided the way I want to serve people is I want to do, teleseminars so people can just dial in. And I want to do courses. So she did a 3-month course and a 6-month course. And then she would record the course so that now folks can come to her site and just buy the course on demand. How smart is that? And then there's some people that are struggling with their finances day in and day out, that they needed to have access to her on a monthly basis. So then she created a membership site, and she called it for, in order to be smarter financially, and gave it a really smart name. And she would charge those members anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a month to work with her. So you see the multiple income streams that's coming out of that. Sure. And then she would also go and speak somewhere and then offers them a chance to be part of her financial academy. And then sometimes she would go and talk on the news because they wanted her to talk about it. So she was able to share her expertise in different mediums in different places, which meant that she had consistent income coming in. Here's something else, and this is really important. I noticed that a lot of speakers or even entrepreneurs, what makes folks think that, in order to be a dentist or some of the other careers that are out there, you got to go to a 4-year school, additional 4 years post-bachelor. But to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to do anything. You just do it. You got to get a coach. You got to get some kind of direction so you're not spinning your wheels. So first of all, get a freaking coach. I can say that enough. Secondly, once you get that coach in, connect yourself with an association where other people are there that are just as passionate about the same thing you are. I am passionate about speaking. And so before I knew I wanted to be a professional speaker, I was extremely involved with Toastmasters. Well, once I decided I want to be a professional speaker, I became an addict of NSA, and now I'm one of the columnists in their magazine. I'm speaking at the conference, the winter conference in 2016. I've done so many roles. It's unbelievable, because I care about this industry and I want to know everything I can know. And Andy, I have spent a buku of money attending all the conferences. But I've gotten it all back because my colleagues will call me up and say, hey, can you speak at this conference? We need a person that knows this, and we know you know this, Marquesa. We know you know business reinvention. We know you know how to monetize speaking. So can you come and speak about this? So people know you. It's awesome. So yeah, you gotta invest. You can't just sort of wish and hope and dream. You gotta take action and really think logically and say, I need to know what I need to know, and I need some direction. So those would be my pieces of advice.
Fantastic. Well, Marquesa, we've gone over a time limit, and I frankly wish we had about 10 times more than we did because you have tons of killer information. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And when people want to know how to get a hold of you and would like you to speak or want to get coaching and such, how would they do that?
Yes, please. Well, gottaspeaknow.com, literally spelled the way I said it, GOTTA, speaknow.com. You get my free ebook where I talk about how to speak for free, Andy, and still make 6 figures. Isn't that crazy?
Awesome.
Yeah, there's an ebook that you can go there. Or you can also go to Speak Your Biz. That's speakyourbiz.com. And then that leads you to either coaching with me or booking me to speak or anything else you'd like to do. So again, that's speakyourbiz.com if you want to further engage me, or if you just want to download and get a freebie and say, hey, I want to know what this speaking is, then just go to gottaspeaknow.com, give a little bit of your information, and then you get that free ebook right away.
Very good. Well, Marquesa, thank you so much for pulling back the curtain and showing us what goes on. I can tell that you are extremely passionate about what you do, and you deserve every bit of success you got because I know that you worked hard for it.
Oh, thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.